Howdy and welcome back to East Texas Now. My name's Hannah Johnson and thank you so much for joining me. And it's the new year. And one of the most popular resolutions for many involves money and finances. Author and personal finance expert and co-host of The Ramsey Show, Jade Warshaw is joining us now with a look at, just the new book that you have coming out. We have it here with us, actually, What No One Tells You About Money. This is such a fun and interesting read, and it's very in-depth and thorough and very easily to digest. But of course, I want to ask you, thank you for joining us, of course. What is that one thing that no one tells us about money?
Well, first off, thank you so much for having me on the show. Good morning. And yeah, no one tells you that money is so emotional. So many people tell us about the math, they tell us about the behavior, but the truth is money and managing your money really is three components. It is the math, the numbers, yes, that does matter. Your behavior matters, absolutely, but everybody leaves out the emotions that surround money, things like anger and frustration and guilt. The list just goes on, and those really do have the ability to affect the choices that we make with our money.
Such a good point. I know I have so many emotional ties to my own finances. Now, for someone who wants a fresh start, where do you even begin?
Yeah, so in the new year, a lot of people are looking to right their wrongs, the things that they've done over the holidays, they want to make it right. And I tell people the first place is really just to know your numbers. So many people don't know simple numbers like exactly how much money you make every month, exactly if you were to add up all of your rent, your mortgage, car payments, debts, what does that total? And how much margin do you have? Is there any money left over? So knowing your numbers is critical. And once you know your numbers, you can start to look at and say, okay, what are my goals? Do I need to save money? Am I trying to pay off debt? Maybe I'm trying to, save up for a down payment. So knowing what your goal is and making that crystal clear is so important. Also understanding why. Why is it that this is important to me? Why do I want to do this? Because as I say, the stronger the why, the stronger the try in order, to accomplish your goals. And then finally, you need a budget, right? All of this means nothing if you don't have a plan for your money. And that's simply all a budget is, a detailed plan for your money that you're creating every single month, because every month is different.
Now, your book talks about the 5 pillars of personal finance. Walk me through what those are.
Yeah, a lot of folks are confused of, Jade, where do I start? What's the most important thing? Is it okay for me to even spend money? And so I like to frame it with there's really 5 things you need to be thinking about when it comes to your money. Number 1, you need to be a person who's on a budget. If you're a person who's on a budget, green light, you're doing very well. Next, you need to be a person who prioritizes getting out of debt and staying out of debt. That's so important. The borrower is slave to the lender. Number 3, making sure you have the proper insurances. Every year we see folks fall into bankruptcy, and it's typically because they're not carrying the proper insurance. So that's one of those boring things that's just really important for us to do. And then finally, at the right time, making sure you're prioritizing savings. If you have debt, $1,000 is really all you need. If you don't have debt, 3 to 6 months is really a great place to start, right? If you're beyond that point, then yes, beginning to invest for the future, that's a way that we save money. Even saving for a down payment for a home, that's a forced savings account. It's a way that we save money and invest for the future. And then finally, another one that gets overlooked, number 5, is you really do need to prioritize generosity. Generosity is such a principle of money. Obviously, when your hand is open, money goes out easily and money comes in easily.
I think one thing that really hit home is the emotional side of your book. You mentioned that changing habits with money is an emotional move. Walk me through what that means and what really holds people back.
What holds people back is just this idea that I can white knuckle my way through this, And whenever you ask somebody to make detailed and difficult changes with their money, you realize, oh my gosh, money touches every area of my life. It's not just my paycheck. It's the way I was raised. It's the way my last boyfriend treated me. It's the way I felt, when my mom died. It's all of these things that are wrapped up in how we handle money. And so when someone like me comes along and says, all right, you're getting on a budget and you're not getting your nails done and you're not going to a restaurant, it's like, for a lot of us, like trauma sets in and it's like, no, don't take take that from me. And instead of moving forward, we either freeze up or we get upset or we don't move forward. It just really can create a spiral. And so the point of this book is to diagnose what's popping up emotionally for you, what's been keeping you stuck, and more importantly, how do you move past it? And so that's what we go through. We go through 5 different emotions in the book, and it's just so detailed in what it looks like, how to move forward, and what you really are trying to achieve in the whole process.
The chapter that really hit home for me was the guilt and shame. And something about how you would mention how, and I have your book here, you talk about your husband, about how he was retreating from direct questions and how he was turning away and avoiding calls and conversations, even with his own mom. That just, it hit me really hard because it brought me back to one of my favorite movies is Becoming Jane, which is, a dramatization of Jane Austen's life. And in it, her dad talks about how nothing destroys the spirit like poverty. Would you agree with that?
I think hopelessness, because I think that's part of it, right? It's I'm down here, I'm in the dumps, life is tough, everything's expensive, and it's not just that, but it's the idea that I'll never get out. And that's where hopelessness really sets in, and that's a really tough place to be. And so that's the point of this book, is to look at folks who feel hopeless, because I mean, me with $460,000 of debt, yeah, there's a point where you go, is this actually possible? Can someone like me achieve it, or is it completely hopeless? And all it takes is just that small flicker of hope for you to say, you know what, I've seen this, I have an idea that maybe, and if you can hold on to that and just keep pulling and pulling and pulling, you pull that goal closer and closer to you. And the time's gonna pass anyway, so why not go for it?
Absolutely. And I feel like this is such a simple question, but it has so much depth to it. What is the truth about winning when it comes to money?
At the very end of the day, there's no getting around the fact that you're going to have to sustain something very difficult for a period of time. And really all that is endurance. So embracing endurance is so, so important. And I don't say that to sound trite. It really just is what it is, right? Anything worth having is worth the sacrifice to get it. And so you kind of have to say, you know what? Changing my habits is going to be hard. Maybe giving up some things that I've enjoyed is going to be difficult. But at the end of the day, we all choose our hard. Because like to your point, it's hard to be poor. It's hard to be broke. And it's also hard to sacrifice to win. But at least when you're sacrificing, you have control over it. And you're deciding, you're the one in the driver's seat saying, here are my priorities. And here's what I'm willing to do in order to make it happen. And endurance is just part of the game on that.
Jade Warshaw, author, professional expert when it comes to your finances. Where and how can we get your book for those who would love to hear more?
Thank you so much. Yeah, you can get it anywhere books are sold. Obviously, RamseySolutions.com/store, Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble. It's everywhere. So whatever's most convenient for you, just go get the book.
Thank you so much, Jade, for joining us and just breaking down exactly what we need to know to kind of get past those barriers. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time. Can't wait to read it.
Absolutely. Thank you so